there, my name is Bree. Welcome to episode 17 of Nectar Nitty Chats. This is my corner of YouTube where I talk a little bit about the projects that I'm working on, primarily, if not all, knitting base, the fiber I've acquired, and just generally talk so that I don't overrun my family and friends with information about my knitting, although my partner could probably attest I do already do that. I live in Baltimore with my partner Steve and our cat Aria, and I've been knitting now for, since spring of 2020, fall of 2020 pretty more seriously. And so I guess I'm coming up on my 3-year knitting anniversary, and this is my podcast celebrating 1 year of creating videos. It's been about a year creating videos. I've made 17, which feels pretty crazy. And so I appreciate you being here. If you're new, welcome. If you are returning, thank you for being back. And I'm just gonna get to it. So as I said in my last video, I am gonna do a giveaway. I thought a lot about how I wanted to do it, and to make it as accessible as possible to everyone, I am gonna be gifting 2 patterns of your choice of value up to $25 US, which I think would cover most patterns. And so I upfront will say I will never contact you for your payment information. I will post in my next video the winner of the giveaway. And so my channel is really small, so I just really don't see it happening on my channel, but I know other channels have been having bots kind of targeting them and trying to get people's payment information. I will never ask for your payment information. And so in my next video, I will post the winner. I will ask them to contact me by email, and then I will go from there. So if for whatever reason this page gets targeted because I'm doing a giveaway, please know that I would never, ever DM you to ask for your payment information. It is a gift away. For that reason, I am using my funds to gift to you. I am not asking for funds from you. So I'll talk a little bit about the details of that on the tail end of the podcast. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way up front because I would feel awful if folks were taking advantage because of content I'm creating. And so I just wanted to get that out front. So anyway, thanks for being here. Happy 1 year of Nectar Nitty Chats. And I'm gonna get started. So I'm trying out a new corner of my apartment. We live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so I have to sometimes get a little creative about where I'm filming. I'm actually really happy with this setup, and I think I might keep this one because when I'm on my couch, I feel like there's too much clutter going on in the background where I have like one blank wall. This is where our Christmas tree normally goes in the apartment, so we're gonna give this a go. And I accented it with one of my shawls that I've made. I've only made 2 shawls ever. This is my, what was it called? Temperance shawl. I did it for a Malabrigo knit along. It's in Malabrigo Mechita, and it is like this ginormous shawl. It is so cozy, so soft, really, really squishy, and I think it's so beautiful. It is so large that I do not actually wear it that often because it's ginormous, but I really liked it. There were some errors in the pattern, so I wouldn't necessarily say go for that pattern again, but I would definitely use this yarn again. It's like a single ply fingering weight yarn. It was my first foray into little knitting, tiny sticks, tiny yarn. Before I knit this, my biggest project ever had been worsted weight. And so I was like, how big of a difference could it be? I found out it was a lot of work, but I'm really happy I did it. It's just beautiful. And so the colors are Polar Morn, which is this light gray, and then Piano and Viola, and I can't remember, I think the blue is Piano, and this like really beautiful kind of magenta pinky color I believe is Viola. And I picked that up at Clover Hill, which is a really cute yarn shop near me. Anyway, so that's a lot about not very much, but Anyway, thanks for kind of sticking with me. So then I will go into what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Stria cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I knit this, I think I knit and finished this a little over a year ago. And it is a all over fingering weight, half fisherman's rib cardigan. This one's a favorite. I've definitely worn it on the podcast. I repeat my knits for sure because I've only got so many, but I love this one. So it's knit in Cascade Heritage Sock in the color Snow. And then the stripes is Quaint Acres Alpaca, and it didn't have a colorway name because they are a small alpaca farm out in West Virginia. I picked this up at Frostburg Fibre Depot in Frostburg, Maryland. Strongly recommend going in. It is her family's alpaca farm that this fiber is from, and it's so soft, and I just think the colors are so beautiful. It's definitely a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I wear it with this tank a lot because there's like, if you can see, it like fades into that color a little bit. And so I love it, and it's so soft, it's so squishy. I did not gauge swatch for this one. Do not follow my recommendation. As a result, it definitely has more positive ease than the pattern suggests, but that being said, I am totally fine with that. I have these like cute little buttons that I picked up from Scrap Be More. I really need to tighten these up. Look at that. One of them actually fell off the other day. I hate doing buttons. I know I've said it before, but I really hate doing buttons, and I really put it off. I find them so cumbersome. I don't feel like it's one of those things where I feel like a real imposter because I don't ever feel like I actually know what I'm doing. I'm just like tying knots. Is that what you're supposed to do? I don't know. But they are these really cute vintage buttons, and they go perfectly with, you can kind of see, they go like so nice with that color. So I really like them. I do need to sew the other one back on mostly so I don't lose it. And then, yeah, I used Cascade Heritage Sock, which is another fiber that I've used a few times. It's just like a classic fingering or classic sock yarn. I used it for my first cardigan as well. It's really soft, really nice to work with. I've never actually used it for socks, but I do have a skein sitting around somewhere that I want to use at some point. So I do have a finished object, but I do not have it with me. I showed on my last podcast the Clubhouse Raglan by Two of Wands. That I will post a picture here. I finished it for my sister, and oh gosh, my cat Aria is on some morning adventures. It's really warming up here, and so we have a lot more birds that are hanging out around our windows, and Aria loves to like mess around with them. Anyway, so my Clubhouse Raglan, I knit the size large in Woolies, which is a wool acrylic blend from Line Brand that I'm sure most people, I know when I started knitting, I used a lot of Woolies Thick and Quick, which is the super bulky version of this yarn. I just used straight up Wool Ease, which is the recommended fiber from the pattern. I gauge swatched, I was bang on gauge, and you know, I was overall really happy with how it looked. I had some videos and stuff too, so I'll post those. I don't have any pictures of it being worn because Nevaeh is not very, like, doesn't really like getting pictures taken. Nevaeh is 12, and so, you know, for Nevaeh's privacy, I'll just leave pictures of the actual sweatshirt. I really enjoyed the process of knitting it. I found the hood to be really, really clever. I was very intimidated by it, but it was not hard at all. So if you are intimidated by a hoodie project because of that, I would say go for it. It was a lot easier than I expected, and it turned out really nicely. And I still need to knit the pocket. Nevaeh has not given the sweatshirt back. So I need to knit the pocket for it. So I need to get that back, but I'll get it. I see Nevaeh every week, so it's no biggie. And I will say, so the fiber, I really liked the color a lot. I found I was really getting a lot of wrist pain as I was knitting it. And so I wonder if that's something to do with the wool acrylic blend, if maybe it had the elasticity of the wool. And so I was kind of surprised, but yeah, I did really find that it was hurting my hands as I was using it. And, you know, excuse me, Nevaeh said it was a little itchy, but to me it felt totally fine, but I'm used to a little bit more woolly projects. After washing, it did block out really nicely. It looks really clean, and it's really wearable, which was the whole point, is I wanted it, sorry, I don't know why. I think the spring allergies are getting to me. I wanted it to be machine washable because I just wanted them to be able to chuck it in the wash and be done with it. So yeah, I mean, would I knit it again? I probably would, actually. I just wouldn't knit it in that fiber for myself. If I were to knit it for myself, I'd probably use just like a more traditional worsted weight, 100% wool. I probably would use I don't think superwash, because I think that would make it a pretty heavy garment. I think I could see myself using, I really loved, for my brother, I used Plymouth Heritage, I think, or Plymouth, I think it was like Homestead, that's what it was, Plymouth Homestead, and I really liked that yarn, and I've been trying to think of a good project for it. That being said, I don't really like hoodies, so I guess all in all, would I knit again for myself? No. Would I knit it again for somebody else? Yes, I would. I think it's a free pattern that you can find on her blog. I just bought it because I'm like not about the ads, and I think it's very well done. It was my first 2 of Wands pattern, and I liked that her pattern, I think it was like detailed enough that I was able to follow it. I think if it was the first sweater I ever knit, I definitely would have had some questions, but I was happy with it overall. So that is the Clubhouse Raglan by 2 of Wands in Woolies in the color Forest Heather. I used pretty much I think I actually have the yarn right here. So I bought the recommended yarn and the amount, and I have this much left, so almost 2 full balls. So you can see, I mean, it's like this lighting is a lot better than it normally is where I normally film, so I think this will be my new spot. You can see it has like this really pretty, like kind of like yellows and greens in there. So I think the color is really beautiful. I need to knit the pocket, and then I might knit a baby sweater with the remaining skein, because I do think there is probably enough here to make a maybe not a sweater, something. It's like 200 yards per 100 grams. And it's really soft. So it's 80% acrylic, 20 wool. So I wonder if but it does like have some give. I don't know why I was so hard on my hands. I don't know. So not the best fiber experience, but that being said, it's like so affordable. And I mean, the point this was a product knit, not a process knit for me, because it was a gift. And so, you know, that's all right. So that was that hoodie. I would definitely knit another hoodie. My partner, I'd like to make a sweater for Steve. I could see myself doing a hoodie. He loves hoodies, although, to be honest, he never actually uses the hood, so maybe not. Okay, I do actually I forgot, I have some small finished objects. So I was waiting to cast on a sweater with a friend, and while I did, I occupied myself with some smaller projects, and I returned to my first love, which was hats. So I will start with one that I knit that I should have gifted by now, but I didn't. But I knit this, it's like Capitals, like, so then Washington Capitals are a hockey team, and my friend goes to a lot of their games, and so I knit her this hat as a gift, and this was my first time using duplicate stitch to do letters. As you can see, they're all right. I think you can read it, and that's what matters. I mean, it's going to be worn at hockey games, so I don't think anybody's going to be like seriously judging it, but I just kind of freelanced this pattern or improv'd this pattern. I, used, I think, a US 13 needle, and I did, 42 stitches of ribbing. And then I used, so I tried to use Woolly's Thick and Quick. They didn't have bright colors like this. They had really nice, kind of more muted colors, but for sports, I feel like you want that like really vibrant, like authentic color. So I looked around a lot to see if I could find the right fiber and colors. I looked in person, I looked at Joann's, I looked at Michael's, and I couldn't find anything except for 100% acrylic, and I just really don't think 100% acrylic wears super well. And so I found it was I think Plymouth Encore super bulky. I need to look that up actually, but I'll put it in the notes. The Plymouth Encore super bulky, I know it's Plymouth, and I got it from Webb's, and they had vibrant red, white, and blue, and so that's what I got. And then I did the duplicate stitch for the first time, and then I thought at the end it would be fun to do this pom-pom, so I just used one of those clover pom-pom makers and made this. It was fun, and it was kind of fun to try something new, and I love a hat. They're just really satisfying. They're quick, and I've always said there's a lot you can do with them, and you can do increases, decreases on hats, you can do lace, you can do cables, you can do color work, and so I think it's a great project to practice techniques, and so I'm super happy with how this came out, and I need to gift it to my friend. I saw her recently and I just totally forgot, but it worked out because then I could show it on the podcast. So that was a totally improvised hat. I don't have any pattern information on it. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. Sorry, Aria got one of her toys stuck, so I got it out. Hopefully she won't be too loud today. I had one video I made where she just played with this one toy for like 20-30 minutes, and I didn't even notice because I was so focused. It was just like, oh my god. And then I was like, I'm not gonna re-record this. But anyway, so then the second project I made was for another gift knit, and I made the Grow hat, which I picked the totally wrong fiber for, I think. So I got this Juniper Moon Farm Saxony. It is a cashmere wool blend. It is so soft. It's unbelievable. It is so beautiful. My brother wanted a black hat, and then in my head I was like, well, I was thinking like a charcoal gray tweedy hat. So then I went to Knits and Pieces in Annapolis. Highly recommend. Great yarn shop, great selection. It was really nice because, so I had only been there once. In Baltimore, we have lovely yarns, which is wonderful for local hand dyes. The people are so great. They have great classes, but they definitely have a lot of like hand dyed, indie dyed yarn, which I have definitely not been buying as much of. They do have a great selection of other things as well, but they specialize in local hand dyes, I would say. And then there is Clover Hill Yarn Shop, which is a little bit bigger, and I would say they have more of a mixture of some local hand dyed, some other hand dyes like Sweet Georgia that I really like. And then they have a good selection of Plymouth, and a really great selection of Malabrigo, and they have kind of Barocco, like those kinds as well. And so they have it just kind of more, I would say, of a variety of options that fit at all different kinds of knitters. Editing Brie here. You are going to hear some noises in the background, which are Steve living life and working, because we live in a little 1-bedroom apartment, and so all of our space is shared. So if you hear water or trash can or typing, that is what's going on. So I apologize for that. I won't really, it's just life as two folks sharing space. So thanks, y'all. Bye. Okay, back again. Needed to play with Aria for a minute to get some energy out. So yeah, it's, I was talking about the yarn shop. So then I really like Clover Hill. I haven't been in a while, but they also have their own hand-dyed brand called Tempting You, which their colors are really beautiful. And then last but not least that I've been to is in Annapolis, which is a little bit of a drive, like 40 minutes from here. It's called Knits and Pieces, and they have like such a great selection. I'm so glad it's not closer to me, to be honest, because I think their selection it has some stuff that I've really wanted to try. Like they have Magpie fibers, which I've been to out in Frederick, that I really like, and they had some other brands that I had been wanting to try, like Noro. They have Juniper Moon Farm, which I've tried a few of their fibers and I've really liked. I used their Cumulus fiber for a baby blanket, and I have a really beautiful skein that was gifted to me that's like a silk camel wool blend that's really, really beautiful. And so I was kind of looking around for fiber for a hat, and I picked up a skein of this. And so yeah, as you can see, it's like a charcoaly, browny, blacky, tweedy yarn. Gosh, I wish there was like a way that you could reach through and touch it. It blocked out so luxuriously. It's so nice. And you can see kind of the little grow hat cables. I cannot tell you the name of the designer off the top of my head. I will include the information in the description, but I'd seen a friend of mine knit this hat and I thought it was so beautiful. She used, I think, mohair and, I don't know, like a DK weight, I think, together, if I were to guess. And it's beautiful. Now, my mistake with this yarn was, not with this yarn, but with this pattern, is it's a 2-ply. And it's quite fluffy and like springy, and so I do not think it shows the cable pattern off very well. In person you can kind of see it, but I think if I were to knit this pattern again, I would want to use maybe a more plied yarn. I'm still learning about what yarns to pick for what projects, and my understanding with cables is that actually using a more plied yarn shows up better for cables. It shows the texture better. And so I think this yarn with this cable pattern was not the right choice. That being said, I'm not gonna redo it. I think it's so lovely. It's so soft. It's for my brother, and so on me it fits like quite loose, but I think on him it'll fit really nicely. I mean, even on me, like, that's pretty cute. No, probably my hair's probably all messed up. Oh, it stayed. So yeah, so this is for my brother. He requested, I knit him the monument hat by Herb Garden Knitwear for Christmas, and he loved it so much that he's requested 2 more hats, and he was kind of was cool if I just made the same hat twice, but I wanted to try something new, and so I saw the girl hat and I went to knit it. Would I knit it again? Probably. I think I knit the large size because I think there were multiple sizes. Again, I'll include the information below. And then I ended up having to tink back and knit. I had originally knit to pattern, and then just wasn't big enough. It was very, very, very fitted. And so I tinked back and I knit extra past, I think I knit like an extra inch past the cables. And then now I'm very happy with it. I think hindsight's 2020. I actually would have just done more ribbing. But I think in the end, I'm happy with the result. I still have plenty of yarn left over, so I'm not sure what I'll do with it because it's like not quite a whole ball of it, and it was 50-gram balls. So I'm not really sure what I'll do with it. I might just go and pick up another ball and make something for myself because again, I just like, it's just so nice. I feel like it could make something really nice around your neck. It's so soft, it's unbelievable. So yeah, that's the grow hat. It's a gift knit for my brother. Still have some ends to weave in, but it's super nice. So those are my finished objects. And then I have quite a few works in progress. I'll start with the one that just kind of flew into my hands just now. And these, oh, do I have the other one? Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so I just picked this up this weekend, or I started it this weekend because we are gonna go meet a special family member this weekend. And so of course I decided that to match his, well, not to match, but to go with his bonnet and his booties, that he needed a little cardigan. So this is the baby Aosta cardigan by the Knit Purl Girl. It's in the kind of Andalusian stitch that she is kind of known for. And so you can kind of see there the texture. And it's a little V-neck cardigan. I've knit the sweater version of it and it was so cute and so quick, and it really doesn't use that much yarn. And so I decided that I wanted him to have something in superwash because I made him a bonnet and booties in non-superwash yarn, but I figured with a cardigan I'd want it to be superwash so they can check it in the wash. Where a bonnet and booties, I feel like it's like, how often do you really wash that? And he's gonna grow out of it so quick. And so this is in a superwash yarn by Red Door Fibre Studios. It's the color Finest Great, which is from the A Court of Thorns and Roses, or Akotar as some people say, collection she did. So this yarn is no longer available unless you want to find it on a D-stash. And I originally was going to have it all in a sweater and then my shifty sweater, but then I got pulled in all different kinds of directions. And so I chucked this color out of the sweater and held on to it, and I'm really glad I did. I think it's a really nice, just like lovely gray, and our nephew's room is very woodsy, kind of like dark colors with like sage green and fox orange and charcoal gray, and so I thought this would actually go really, really nicely with all of that. And I think Steve's sister and her partner will really love it, and hopefully their little guy will too. And it's very soft, which I think is good too for the little ones. But yeah, so I am super happy with it so far. The fastest sweater yoke you'll ever knit, and then now I'm just on the body, and then I'll pick up for sleeves, and you know, it'll be good to go. So that's the baby Aosta cardigan in a DK from Red Door Fibre Studios. I really, really love her work, and I think this will be done. It'll definitely be done by this weekend, so I'm really excited. And based off of the pattern, I should be able to finish the whole cardigan with one skein of yarn, 100 grams, and it's roughly 200 something to, I forget what it is. I'll, you know, so I should get, I think it's like 220 yards. So I should get a whole cardigan out of, a whole baby cardigan out of this one skein of yarn. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That is whip number one. Whip number 2. It's very similar color scheme. Another gift knit. Has everything I talked about been gift knits? Oh my gosh. Maybe I need to knit more for myself. It's a half finished because I have one sock down. You might recognize this yarn. It is the Feederbrook Bio-Nylon that I got from Maryland Sheep and Wool last year. And I am knitting another set of socks for Steve. He wears his socks that I made him all the time, to the point that I probably need to start washing them more because he wears them so much. And so I was like, it's time to cast on the one in reverse. It'll be, you know, these are so quick. I don't know why I waited so long. I kind of wanted them to be done for Christmas, but then I made a billion gift knits, so they weren't. But this is sock number 1. My decreases I think are off here, which is why it looks a little bit goofy, but he tried it on and it fits fine. And so these ones look much better. And so then I now have the other sock on the needles, and this is my kind of like bring with me if I just need something to work on while I'm out and about. And so I have thus far knit the cuff, and I hope I'm not going to be playing yarn chicken. I did weigh the first sock, and see, isn't this pretty? It's like black with this like string of like this light. Let's see if I can get it to focus on it. I have to like hide behind the yarn. I don't think it's gonna want to focus, but it's got this like really pretty silvery blue line running through it. There we go. So that's really pretty. And then here's the gray, which has got this kind of like almost metallic-y multicolor going through it. It's not going to show up on camera, but it is really pretty. And what I like about it is it has bio-nylon in it, and so apparently it is a naturally derived, safer for the environment nylon, and it means it's really strong, which is good because Steve is hard on his socks. And that is living in this really cute little project bag I got from Fate's Threads. That's perfect for a sock. So it's a DK weight sock, and so it at one point had 2 full skeins of DK and the socks, and then I keep the needles in here as well, and it holds it all just fine. And it's perfect for chucking in my backpack or my purse for when I'm out and about, like going to work, whatever. So definitely recommend this small project bag from Fate's Threads. And yeah, it's just really cute, right? I think I got it on sale. All right, my last work in project, which is the big one, and that is my Semper sweater V-neck by the Knit Purl Girl. So this is, I guess I also talked about her Aosta. Sophie, I really like her patterns. I've tested for her several times. I met her in real life. She's so lovely, and I just really like her designs. And I've been thinking about knitting this one, and I had yarn for it. Well, I had yarn that I could use for it. And then my friend reached out and was like, hey, let's knit this together. So she's also a podcast follower, so hello. And she was like, I've been thinking about knitting the Semper sweater V-neck. Why don't we knit along? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I love knitting. I love test knitting. I love knit alongs because I love the opportunity to connect with people, talk about the project. What fiber are you using? What part are you at? Oh, how did you do this part? It really ended up helping me with the neckline because I had accidentally made the neckline too small. And so I was able to be like, hey, like, how many rows did you do for the neckline? And realized I had misread the pattern. So yeah, so I had knit 7 rows, I think, or I had knit half because I'd misread it was like, instead of doing 7 rows, it was do 7 repeats of 2 rows. So I had knit it way too small. Although that being said, I could see that being a nice look too with just like a thinner neckband, but I'm really happy with how this has come out. So the actual project, I've made a lot of progress because I haven't shown it at all in the video. So here it is. My intention when I bought this yarn was to find a yarn similar to this shirt. I love the color of this shirt. I wear it constantly, but it's not quite a sage green. It's not quite a sea green. I had a hard time, and so I bought this Woolyknit cone in England, and I was like, I might be able to get away with holding it together with something to kind of bring it down a bit. Please do not. Aria is seeing me mess around with yarn and she is so excited. Maybe I can get a darker mohair to pull the color down a little bit, because this is the color Garden Mint. This is very, very bright. I mean, I love this color. I think it's beautiful, but I wanted to try and get this color basically. And so I was like, maybe if I hold it together with something that'll marl it a little bit to bring it a little darker to more closely match it. So I think I was somewhat successful. It's definitely, I mean, you can see, like, it's certainly not this color, right? And so I think it is definitely much closer. It's still not quite the same, but I am overall really happy with it. Let me see if I can find my mohair. It's all tangled up in here. So here's the mohair, which that is actually an extremely close match. So maybe what I need to do is just make a sweater in Drops Sage Green, because that is actually an extremely close match. So I held these two together, and you can see there's quite a difference between the two. And it has created this beautiful sweater. I'm so happy with it. It's so fuzzy. You know, I used Drops Kid Silk. So this is Woolyknit's British wool cone. It's a 4-ply, and I'm really, really happy with it. It's quite rustic, but to be honest, I've worn this. That was why I chose to do a V-neck, because originally I bought this yarn to be the first sweater by Hive Knits, Lizzie at Hive Knits, and I recently have used Drops Kid Silk quite a bit, and especially on my sweater, my Gossamer Twist, I find it pretty itchy on my neck. And so I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna use Drops Kid Silk again, maybe I should do a V-neck so it's a little off my neck and my chest right here. And so then when Leslie asked me to do the Semper sweater V-neck, I was like, oh my God, perfect. So I repurposed that yarn, and I used it from Stash. I already had all of it because I'd been planning on making the first sweater. So I already had all of it, and we cast it on. It's been 3 weeks now, and I have have both sleeves down, and I'm working currently on the body, which still has quite a ways to go. So I made one major mistake, and I accidentally knit one of the sleeves on the wrong size needle. I knit like a needle size down. I'm wondering if you can tell. So I do think you can tell a little bit. So this I knit on the correct needle size. I normally do have to size down for Sophie's patterns because she's quite a tight knitter, and so I normally have to size down. I swatched and I went down to, here I have it on the body, I went down to a 4mm needle, a US size 6, instead of, I think it calls for a US size 7. And so I did size down, and on the sleeves, of course, that's what you're supposed to use as well. And so for this sleeve, I used the correct needle, the US size 6. And this one, I used Aria's, you can just hear, I used a 4. So it's a 0.5 millimeter difference. So it's not insignificant, but it's not crazy, right? And so here is how it's turned out. So you can kind of tell, like this is a looser gauge and then this is a tighter gauge, right? I mean, you can tell for sure. But I was wondering, as I was knitting the second sleeve, I was like, man, like this really feels like it's taking longer. And but I was like, maybe it's second sleeve syndrome. Maybe I'm just, you know, bored or whatever. But I was like, I felt like the first sleeve like really flew. And then the second one, I was like, oh, this feels like it's really taking a long time. And it turns out it was taking a longer time, but I knit to the same length. Like I kept measuring them against each other instead of just, you know, whatever. And so if you look at them, they look almost the same. So same length. I measured the width of them and let me see. So I measured the width of them. The one in front is the tighter gauge one, and it's not like you can really see a significant size difference between the two, right? So I think I'm just gonna leave it. You know what? I'm gonna try it on. And then we can really see if there's a good color match. My head keeps getting cut off. Okay, let's see. So, look at that. Oh, I'm really happy with that. And I think it'll block really nicely. I'm really looking forward to it because there is some bunching around here, but I think that'll block out. And so here are both sleeves. Let's see if I can like stand both sleeves. And this one is tighter, this one's looser. I mean, I can't. So now I just can't tell if I notice because I know or if I'm really noticing. So I'm going to block it. I'm like 99.9% sure I'm not going to redo it because I really just don't think it is noticeable both visually and in wearing it. But I'm going to block it first. The sweater is very pilly. I'm going to block it first and see how it looks. I should say I knit a size 4 and I am nearly done and you can see how much of this yarn I have left. So I need to check the yardage on these because I swear I might have enough yarn after this to knit like a fingering weight sweater or like a lento or something. So or maybe a huge shawl. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying working with it. There is a knit along going on right now with Well Loved Knits called Well Loved Woolyknits, and it's with Woolyknit, and I've entered this sweater using the hashtag and stuff like that. And so they're also until the end of the month having a 20% off. I went and looked because I was like, I would love to get another cone. It's super affordable. It's like 25 pounds for a cone, and a cone is like, it's a lot of yarn. And so it's very, very affordable. Shipping was 27 pounds. And so I was like, even so, it's like not an insane amount of money to spend for a sweater quantity of yarn. But I just, the like budget person in me was like, I cannot spend, Aria's messing around. I cannot spend more money on shipping than I do on the yarn. I just can't do it, especially if the yarn is 25 pounds and the shipping is 27, 28 pounds. I couldn't do it. So I didn't. But yeah, that, I don't think I have any other notes on it. So like I said, it's the Semper sweater V-neck. It was my first double folded V-neck, and I love it. I think it looks so classy. When I first was knitting it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so low cut. I'm never gonna be able to get away with it at work. But as you could see, it really, the neckline really pulls it up. And so I'm really happy with that, because I was getting kind of nervous because I would really like my knits to be work appropriate, and this one definitely is now, although it's still very cropped. So I had somebody comment on my photo that it's Zoom work appropriate because they can't see the crop, but I'm saving the body of that for the next couple of days, because I have lots and lots and lots of webinars for work, and so that means lots of mindless knitting in the round. And so I think that'll be a great opportunity to work on the body and finish that up, so that I think I'll have that and the baby Aosta finished within the next few days, and then it'll be time to cast on something new, which is the best feeling. I'm not sure. I have a couple ideas of what'll be next. I think I'm gonna try and squeeze in one more sweater, maybe the Dartmoor, before I transition to spring summer knitting. The Dartmoor is quick, so maybe I'll squeeze in two. I just love knitting sweaters. So, oh, and then I have a Fibre purchase that I'm really excited about. So let me go run and grab that. I don't normally do acquisitions, but I'm really excited about this one, so I will go grab it. Okay, so I have been trying to be more intentional about my yarn purchases. I do not purchase without a project in mind, and I have been trying to limit purchases too, and I've been relatively successful. I definitely, everything I have, I documented and I put in a spreadsheet, and now I am basically trying to assign projects for everything. And I have a lot of super bulky in my stash that I just don't really know what I'm gonna do with, but I don't want to get rid of it because it is really good for gift knits. So anyway, that all being said, I did go to Loop in DC recently, and I was so excited because they had knitting for Olive. I have some knitting for Olive in stash, which is intended for my Dartmoor, and I am definitely, I've just like, their yarn looks really, really nice, but it's a Danish brand. It's not unaffordable, I would say, but with the shipping and everything like that, I just don't get it. And so I was so excited to see it in person, and I have been trying to find summer yarns that I'm more interested in working with. I just don't like using 100% cotton. And I saw that they had the double merino there, and then I saw like something else, and I was like, oh man, I really hope they have the cotton merino. And sure enough, they had the cotton merino, and they also had, which I didn't get, but I thought about it, they had their 100% linen yarn too. So I was like, oh my gosh. But I did get the cotton merino. This is the color dark sea green. I definitely have a trend going on with the greens, huh? And I think it's like a good match for my eye color. So I was so excited. It is 70% cotton, 30% wool. So like I said, I don't like working with 100% cottons, but this is it's really soft. It feels really good. And I think the wool will make it nicer to work with, because cotton is really hard on my hands. And so I got 4 balls of this. They were $10 a ball. I actually only needed 3, but just to be safe, I got 4. I am planning on making the Luna tee. I don't know the designer's name, but I will drop it below. It is a fingering weight tee in broken rib, which I did for my Cosmo cardigan. I love my Cosmo cardigan, and I saw this tee, I think last year. I saw the Balanced Skein Kendra post about it, and so I was like, that definitely. And it's like kind of like a higher neck broken rib t-shirt that comes to like here and here, and as you can see, I kind of like that. it's not a mock neck, but I do like that look. And so, and I knew I wanted it to be something that I could, I mean, I think with cotton merino, be great in the summer, but also great all year round, especially if I can just like toss a cardigan over it, you know? So, and I love this color. I was between this and they have this really beautiful, I think, dove blue color, but the blue, I love blue. It's my favorite color, but I just wear jeans so much that sometimes I don't like having blue tops as much, because then it's just me wearing lots of blue. So then I thought this was good. And I just think, again, it's like so pretty, and I think it goes with my eye color. So really excited about that. So that was my mini acquisitions. But if you look, I'm looking at all of this now, and it's like, look at all these greens that I've worked with recently. I think I do really like green, and I do not often buy it, but I really think it looks nice too with blonde hair often as well. All right, that is everything. But now the giveaway. Okay, so as I stated up front, I will not reach out to you asking for any payment information. And so I'm gonna make it really simple. So 2 patterns of your choosing, valued up to $25 total, not $25 each, although I feel like it would be kind of hard to find patterns $25 each. So I think that's very encompassing of most patterns that you might want. I really don't see much patterns that are going for over, you know, $12 US. So $25 total worth of patterns, 2 patterns. And I will send them to you. But wait, well, let me get it. I will post the winner in my next video. I'll have it up on screen, and then I will ask them to email me so that we can sort out those details. And so I'm happy to purchase those through Ravelry, through a website, you know, whatever. We can figure that out. All you have to do is be subscribed to my channel and comment below a summer fiber that you've used and liked, or one that you are excited to try, because I am making a list of ones that I want to try, and so you are helping me, and then maybe people can kind of discuss their favorites in the chat, and that would be helpful because spring's coming up, summer's coming up. Always out here looking for good summer recommendations. I definitely asked in the past, but I thought this would be a good way to kind of have them all in one place. So that's what I said. So Nectar Knits 1 year giveaway, whatever. Subscribe to the channel and comment below a summer fiber you have used and liked, or a summer fiber you are excited to try. If there's one you haven't liked, you can put that too. So, but yeah. So that is everything. Thank you so much for sticking with me. It's just been a journey. I really love making these videos. It's been a minute because, to be honest, it's just been busy. So let me know if you like this new spot too. I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm really happy with it. It's just a little cleaner, I think. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, following along. I have some exciting stuff coming up in the coming months. Maryland Sheep and Wool is coming soon, and so I'm definitely going to that, and would love to hear if anybody's going to that as well. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Bye.